Welcome to K-Drama School. I'm your host, Grace Jung, and class is now in session. About a show called Because This Is My First Life. It is a show written by Yoon Na-chung, and she's affiliated with shows like Flower Boy Ramen Shop and The Queen of Office. She also wrote Hogu's Love, which is based on a webtoon series written by Yoo Hyun-suk. Because This Is My First Life stars Chung So-min, who was the love interest in that sitcom Sound of Your Heart, and Lee Min-gi is also on the show. Chung So-min plays Ji-ho, who is a 30-year-old TV screenwriter who becomes homeless, and she needs to move in with a man named Nam Se-hee, who works as a designer at a dating website company. And they're supposed to be just roommates, but they, of course, end up falling in love. They also end up getting married. I guess it's because, Se-hee needs somebody who will pay rent while living with him, but she happens to be a woman and they don't want weird questions asked, so I guess they just go with it. It's very weird why they feel the need to get married, but they end up doing it, and it's bizarre, but it's part of the storyline. The show reveals a lot of modern and urban young people's concerns like job security, money, gender discrimination, ableism, love life, marriage, and other pressures. For instance, Ji-ho is of the 1988 generation, and she talks about how they're named the 880,001 generation. So people who graduated in around the year 2009, 2010, they started getting this nickname because even though they graduated with a college degree, all they could do was find part-time jobs that paid a minimum wage of 880,000 won per month, which is just under $750 a month. I guess back then it was more close to like $650 a month. So that's for these part-time gig workers. Jobs were scarce. Jobs still are scarce. Everybody was educated, but facing a very fierce competitive market, and it was hard for anybody to stand out. But the earlier generation, for instance, Chiho's father, he keeps saying how easy the kids have it these days and how much harder it was for people like him back in the olden times. And this is a typical way of looking at every generation that comes after, and it's a symptom of capitalism. While economic progress might bring in a higher rate of education and wealth, it also brings in higher competition, saturated job markets, and a lot of people who feel useless in their society because nobody wants to hire them for what they're good at. Gio's case is significantly different from others in that she pursued a career as a writer in television. It's freelance, it pays like shit, and there are creeps who try to take her credit and sexually assault her. And these are also symptoms of capitalism and its failures, right? So telling you that you're easy to take advantage of because you're stuck in job precarity, you're living in a gig economy, you are completely replaceable, right? All of these things are evidence of capitalism and its failures. In the United States today, we're living with inflation at the moment. This inflation is going to impact our living over the next several years. And it's something to be concerned about because the income and salaries that we're currently making, they're never going to be enough to pay for the things that we already could not afford, like homes, like cars, like a higher degree, like healthcare. Things are only going to get harder and harder for us as a whole. And in this devastating and dreary reality, we need to find ways of dreaming big. You have the character Suji, who works at a corporation in middle management, even though she used to dream of being a CEO of her own business. And she gets sexually harassed at work meetings constantly with other white-collar folk. This isn't anything new. We've seen this kind of plotline a lot in many other Korean dramas with female-driven narratives, which is a testament to how ubiquitous these kinds of events are and what a huge problem it is. I liked the scene where Suji confronts her former colleague, well, it was her colleague at the time, and demands a sincere apology from him while being very vulnerable and telling him how unhappy she is with their relationship as it stands. And to have that kind of confrontation takes a lot of courage. It takes a lot of boldness and confidence and trust to be that upfront with somebody. And we see why it took a lot of confidence, courage, and trust, because this person on the receiving end was being a complete dick about it. The takeaway is that even if they are dicks about it, you still stood up for yourself and expressed your truth. And the one who rejects it is doing so because they're cheese dicks who lack courage. And you don't need to take it personally. But pick and choose your battles as well, right? In general, you can tell who will be receptive to you and your realness and who won't be. And if you get a sense that they won't be, let them be. Move on without them. There's no need to have this kind of conversation with people that you have certainty will not be receptive to them, okay? But ultimately, it's always better to communicate and try to find some kind of resolve. Mingi is also a very interesting character. He has this past trauma where his father rejected him and his pregnant lover when he was younger and told him to get out of his house. Having a home is usually the traditional sense of security that a person has. But I was in a panel the other day and somebody mentioned how he graduated medical school recently and he also bought a house. And what he's doing is staring down the hole of debt that stands before him, and that his job feels more like a prison in order to dig himself out of this debt. It's interesting how we construct these senses of security based on what our surroundings and our society tell us, and then we get ourselves locked in a trap. That's the great irony about what we call security. It's secure, but it's keeping us locked inside as well. I suppose finding a mindful sense of security in our own center is the answer here. Feeling a sense of home-like security wherever we go, right? This is the key to this kind of problem, and it's a lot easier said than done. Lastly, the character Horang is extremely interesting on this show. She works as a manager in the fine dining industry, and her boss is incredibly sexist and asks her inappropriate questions like, is she on her period? Whenever she's in a bad mood. And it's an invasive and sexist thing to reduce a woman down to her menstrual cycle, and it overlooks the reality, which is that men also have hormones, and those hormones affect their mood and their decision making just as much. Horang is the kind of woman who wants a family. She wants a husband and she wants a child and she wants to live in a happy home as a mother and a wife. Those are her goals. And she's been with the same boyfriend for 7 years, but he feels a lot of pressure as a startup computer engineer. And that's also a tough business. He has dreams to have his own company and career, but he can't measure up. Meanwhile, he feels pressure to get married to this girlfriend of 7 years who keeps dropping hints. And that's a lot. But if you look at this relationship, the pressures that they both feel are stemming from the same source, and it's that they want a certain kind of image for themselves. They hold that in their mind's eye and they want to reach it, but it requires compromise from each other. The episodes with Chiyo's parents are especially interesting, particularly seeing how sexist her father is. That's the other great irony about these kinds of urban narratives. While we have urban and modern storylines, the parental figures are still locked in old school ways of thinking, and we see how deep this patriarchy is rooted in the home lives of these characters. And folks, these kinds of capitalistic problems that modern Korean society was dealing with back in 2017 persist today. I mean, this has been the case and it will continue to be the case for a long time, probably until the next bubble bursts. But until then, I guess, keep the faith and keep going, because that's what I've been doing this past week. Last week, I lost a friend, a fellow comedian. He passed away, Jonathan David. And this past week, I did what's called a mock interview with a few professors from my alma mater, and it was probably the most demoralizing and the most painful and humiliating experience of my life. Some of that is my fault. I really wasn't prepared. I was somewhat, I don't know, like shit just came out of left field and I was kind of bullshitting my answers all throughout because my head's not been in the game. I have job interviews. I had one this past week, but my head's just not been in the game. My head's been up in my creative clouds, and I have not been working on my academia all that much. But the mock interview left me shook, and I went back into the grind, back into the gear of things, and I am trying to get prepared for the next job interview, which is going to be on Wednesday. So wish me luck on that, I guess. But as of now, I'm sure you could tell from my voice, I'm pretty exhausted. I mean, there was a lot of crying last week. There was a lot of crying this past week. I am pretty fucking sure there will be a lot of crying next week. I don't know, you guys. It's not easy. It's really not easy. I was kind of talking to a few comedian friends recently, and neither of them are working at the moment. And I said to them, I was like, even though we're not working a job that pays us money, in another sense, we're all working constantly. Like we work all day. I work from morning till night. That is actually the truth. Like every time I write something down, every time I upload a post, every time I edit a podcast, every time I go to a mic or I go to a show, every time I do something, it is work. And that kind of work at the moment may not be compensating me to the extent that I wish to be compensated, but they're all work. So I am working all the time. And a lot of these artists are working all the time. So I think, another way to look at it is to just say, yeah, like all of us are hard workers. Just because somebody doesn't seem to be contributing, quote unquote, to the local economy doesn't necessarily mean that they're not working. So I don't know. I guess I'm just saying this to say, once again, support your artists, right? Like, if you can go to a local show, go and do it. If you could buy somebody's, a local artist's painting or, um, soap dish or whatever it is that they're selling online, pick one up. Pick one up if you like it. If it doesn't speak to you, there's no need to force it. But look around in your local community and see what kind of artwork is out there. And if they serve some kind of purpose or function that you think you could add to your life. And if part of that function and purpose is that it brings you joy, then go ahead and add it. Because why not? You're supporting somebody in your community who really needs that encouragement. Because you guys, I'm not kidding around when I say this kind of work is really, really hard. It's really, really difficult. But with all that said, thank you for listening to my podcast every week. Your loyalty really means the world to me. Today's guest is Susan Song. She is trained at UCB and she plays a lot of hilarious characters. If you want to see some of that, check her out on her Instagram. She's very, very funny. She's been on Jimmy Kimmel. She's been on the Fox TV show 911. She's been on True TV's Adam Ruins Everything. She's in the Paramount Originals TV show Why Women Kill and many more. She's very talented. She's very funny. She's got some thoughts. Let's talk to Susan Song. Yeah, you audition a lot. I mean, it's your
Yeah,
job.
this week it was nuts. I had like over 11 this week. I'm like,
Shit.
and then on the weekend, so I'm like, what is happening?
Wow. That's
Yeah, and then
good.
it's good. 3 on Monday, so I have to start prepping for that. It's just like honestly, it's just like a lot. It's overwhelming sometimes.
Mm, yeah.
It's fine. I'm good. I'm fine. I love it. I love it. It's my job. You're right. It's my job.
Yeah, you seem to do like a lot of commercials and stuff.
I do commercials the
Yeah.
most probably. Yeah.
Yeah. Did you train in like dramatic arts or theater?
I have more of a comedy background.
Okay. Like
Yeah. I
improv
mean,
and sketch and stuff.
improv, sketch, all of that, gone through Groundlings, UCB, seconds. I did all of them.
Yeah.
So I think that's why it lends well to commercials because a lot of that is,
Mm.
um, it's all improv.
Mm-hmm.
But then, like, so, but lately I've been like, "Ugh, I need to be a good actor. You know what I mean? So I'm taking,
Hmm.
like, I need to be, I was like, should I go to back to theater? Like, should I go to, theater school or like that aspect of it?
Yeah.
Because whatever, I'm always going to point out like, oh, things that I'm, my inadequacies, right? And I'm gonna be like, oh, I'm not, because I'm critical mind. So I'm gonna be like, well, you suck at, you can't be dramatic or whatever. So I'm like, okay, well, let me try. And I think I've told you too. I'm like, I'm dead inside, and you'll be like, I cry every day, and I'm like, oh, I don't cry ever. And so I just don't know how to tap into emotion sometimes. So I've been
Huh.
taking classes, more of these dramatic
Mm-hmm.
classes, and then when
Mm-hmm.
I'm doing it, I'm like, I hate this. I hate this. I don't want to do
Why?
this.
Why?
I well, it's not that I hate dramatic acting. It's just sometimes the classes are, it's just kind of like, oh my God, kill me right now. Okay. Because
Mm.
sometimes like the exercises are a little like, just, we don't need to be doing this. I can't help laugh about it.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
the comedian inside of me, I'm like, this is so stupid.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I was gonna like, for example, I don't know, Connor, our friend. I
Yeah.
don't know if I should, this. We had this story where we met in an acting class, and in
Yeah.
that first class,
Yeah.
it was like it's like a couple, and we had just finished having sex, right?
Uh-huh.
So it's kind of like and then it's like a conversation about each other kind of thing.
Uh-huh.
And
Uh-huh.
so our acting teacher was like, okay, so to really kind of play the moment before, I'd love for you guys before you start the scene to kind of like physicalize, like kind of like we had to like kind of almost pretend like we were um I don't know if we're allowed to swear or anything like that,
Yeah,
but
you could swear.
fucking,
Yeah.
And so and that is very like uncomfortable for me to do that in a the person in me. I'm just like, wait, what? And so we had to like pretend like we were just like having like we had to kind of like simulate it for a couple of seconds and then go into the
Okay.
scene. And I was like,
Oh, okay.
after that, Connor and I still talk about that to this day, where I'm like, I that was like the worst. And like I think that's kind of why we
Yeah.
had to go through this horrible experience together,
Yeah.
and we
Yeah.
still talk about it. It's like it was
Yeah.
horrible.
What did you
It's like,
guys do?
why are we doing this, huh?
Did you guys like touch each other's boobies? What did you guys
No,
do?
but Hunter and I were in the scene together, so I was doing it with a complete stranger that I've never met before. You know what I
Oh,
mean?
right, right,
And
right,
like instead of it
right.
being more intimate, like my partner and I decided to be a little bit more raunchier because to me that's a little less vulnerable and like, you know what I
Okay.
mean? Like where it's a
All
little bit
right.
more anyways, I don't even I don't know what I'm talking about. Anyways, so
Okay.
yeah, I don't even. So some of those things I'm just like, oh gosh. So then I started doing more one-on-one coaching type of things to help with
Hmm.
vulnerable, like more like because sometimes I'll get like sides for Grey's Anatomy where I'm like the mother of like a dying baby and I have to like
Mm-hmm.
cry and I'm like this is
Mm-hmm.
I was like I'm gonna pass on this guys, I'm gonna
Mm.
pass.
Hmm.
But then I was like, I want to learn how to do this, right? So then I coached with somebody to be like, what can I do to prepare for this kind of a situation?
Yeah.
Because it's not even about I can probably figure it out for the audition, but it's the
Yeah.
craft to be able to do it on set constantly, to be able
Yeah.
to cry and exactly when it's so technical on set.
Yeah.
And so it's like, okay, here comes your close up. You need that little teardrop. It's just,
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
K drama, they're all about that
Yeah.
single tear.
Yeah. Are
So
you able to cry on cue?
so now like I've been working on trying to like there have been some auditions that I've done that I've been proud of where I had to um be emotional and I was able to do it. So I'm working on
Mm.
it. Yeah.
Mm. What's the
Yeah.
trick to being able to cry on cue?
It's it's really about like some people can just be like mom, 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 just get there. And I can't because I'll be like, mom, 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 mom. Oh, I hate, feel bad about myself. I hate myself. God, kill me. What am I doing? Why am I choosing this
Uh-huh.
fucking thing? God, cut, cut, cut.
Yeah,
But
yeah,
I don't like. It's like there's so much imagination and backstory that I realize you have to kind of do to
yeah.
create this scene. Like,
Uh-huh.
okay, you really want me? Okay, I'll go into it. I don't.
Yeah. Yeah.
But like, for example, like there was an audition where I had to, like, I my son was taken away for. I'm like a pharmaceutical sales rep, and like,
Mm-hmm.
I figured out that the pharmaceutical company is doing wrong things, right? And I start
Okay.
being a whistleblower a little bit,
All
and
right.
that pharmaceutical company ruins my life. They
Okay.
plant drugs in my car, so I
Whoa.
lose custody of my kid. My
Yeah.
husband divorces me. They put rumors that I had an affair with somebody in the company. They just completely obliterated my life, right? Because of I'm a
Whoa.
whistleblower. So
Mm.
then I was working with my coach, and I was like, she was like, okay, so when you think your child was taken away from you, right? Like, do you think it was because you're a bad mom? And I was like, initially I was just like, yeah, but then she was like, well, let's say that you weren't, like, you're an amazing mom, but it's just the pharmaceutical company like fucked you over, right? And I was like, okay. She's like, let's like close your eyes and let's imagine the moment when your son was taken away. She's like,
Hmm.
what do you love doing with your son? And I was just, and I'm like, oh, we love baking cookies, right? And then she'll be like, okay, so what kind of cookies are you guys making? I'm like, oatmeal chocolate chip, right? So we're talking specifics. And then
Okay.
she's like, okay, imagine your son. You see your son, you see an actual face. And then I use like my nephews as a
Uh-huh.
proxy or whatever.
Uh-huh.
And you guys are making cookies, and there's flour everywhere. There's flour on his head, and
Uh-huh.
his hair is like,
Yeah.
and like you guys are making cookies, and he comes over and he hugs you and he goes, "Mom, I love you so much. I love making cookies with you, right?" And
Uh-huh.
it's like, "Aw." And then she's like, in that moment, the door knocks and they
Uh-huh.
come. So it's like
Yeah.
we're putting all these memories of what happened in my
Yeah.
in my in my head.
Okay.
Um, so that and it's just backlog history, so that when you're
Yeah.
doing this scene,
Yeah.
you might remember that fucking moment and then be like, you know
Mm.
it's just like, ugh. So it's like I have to kind of create this whole history and catalog in my mind. So like that audition,
Yeah.
it was like three different scenes. It took so long for me to prepare, like 2 3 days of backlogging shit. But then
Yeah.
when I shot it, like I did
Yeah.
everything in one take and I got like what I wanted, and I was like, whoa, that was like
Yeah.
an audition that I was like really like proud of like being able to do the work and like get to where I need to be emotionally.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't get it, and that's fine. That's what happens. But I was proud of just whatever. That's Hollywood. But I was
Yeah.
proud of the work. You know what I mean? So
Yeah. Yeah. No, I think that really shows how much work an actor does, you know,
yeah.
because a lot of the times people just think like, oh, the screenwriter writes the script and then
Mhm.
the director just tells the actors where to stand
Mhm.
and then it's like action, right?
Right.
But
Right.
it's more than that. Like you have
Yeah.
to
Yeah. It's a
make
lot.
it real for yourself. You have to
Mhm.
create
Mhm.
or construct an
Everything.
experience, a
Right. Because
life.
I feel like they give you sometimes so little to work with too. So you have to make
Hmm.
everything up. And it's not even about
Mm,
making what I think is the right choice. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter, I realize. It's like you just need to
yeah.
make a choice of what it is you're doing as an actor,
Sure.
and then it'll and make it, that's what makes it like real for you. And I feel like sometimes just acting real is really hard as an actor. As people,
Yeah.
it's like, "Hey guys, how's that?" It's like we don't act like that in real life. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
just acting real, like when we're talking, we'll think about things and like, just all of that. It's like that's what's real, and that you need to have thoughts and backstory to like do that. I feel like. Anyways, I'm
Yeah.
rambling. I'm
No,
rambling.
I think that's all really important to keep in mind. And it just goes to show like that actors also have to be good writers in some way, you know? Like
Mhm.
actors have to be able to conjure new things and come up with them on the spot and a lot of work goes into it. I mean, part of the like hesitancy for me when it comes to just acting or the job of an actor is just it looks exhausting.
Mhm.
Yeah.
It is.
It looks really, really exhausting. Like I feel like auditioning all the time is exhausting. I feel like, being on set is exhausting. I feel like trying to yes and everything that everybody says to you is exhausting. I feel like all of that is just tiresome.
Yeah, I mean, yes, it's a lot of work, but like at the end of the day, that's why I feel like you have to like really love doing it
Mhm.
to even like deal with all that other bullshit.
Mhm.
Because when you're on set and like not dramatic acting, but when I'm doing what I love to do and like being funny or like making people
Mhm.
laugh, like
Mhm.
there's no greater joy than that. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
For me, like I feel the most alive. So yes, it's tiring, but it's like when it's like kind of when you crush it in stand-up comedy, like it's like
Mhm.
that was fucking amazing. Like you get stand-up comedy, you get like the biggest fucking high. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
When you
Mhm.
killed. And so it's like that. And so it's like kind of chasing that. But stand up comedy is also a lot of fucking work too.
Mhm.
So it's like the same thing. It's a lot of the same. It's the same thing. What are you talking about?
Mhm.
It's the
Do
same
you
fucking
do
thing.
do you do stand up or have you done
I
stand up?
did before. I have, and like, I mean, I've taken a class. Okay, hold on. I got
Oh, who'd
my
you take
bangs.
it with?
My bangs got cut really short, so I'm really subconscious.
No, no, it's
Um,
fine. Who did you take it with?
with David Arnold. Do you know who David Arnold is?
I've heard of him.
I used to actually work at the Comedy Union. I don't know if you know this comedy club.
Okay.
It's a black comedy club on Pico and La Brea, and I worked there for
Okay.
like 5 years
Hmm.
as a cocktail server. And
Mhm.
so that's where I met David Arnold, and I took his class, and so he made us go to like at least 3 open mics a week, record all of our sets, listen to it, and then and so after 6 weeks we would have done over 18 to 20 open mics, and then we had a show. So that process was a lot of work. It's a lot of the same stuff because it's like I feel like the key to being really great stand up is being comfortable on stage,
Mhm.
and that's like the whole thing about acting like a real person,
Mhm.
because like when I think about my first set, I hate it because it's so like I'm not your typical Asian. It's just so fucking scripted and it's not me. I mean, it's just like not
Ah.
conversational. It's just so like, hey, do you guys like Taboo? I learned, it's just so like it was so like cringe if you think about it.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
Um, but yeah, I feel like and the thing that's so hard about stand-up comedy, I feel, is like
Uh-huh.
and that's why I kind of stopped, is the key to getting great and good is constantly failing in front of other people,
Mhm.
and you kind of have to as a like perfectionist, it was it's so hard to do that. Like I like to put a polished final product out for people to enjoy, but I
Hmm.
feel like you only know the only like I have always have to kind of listen to the way my jokes would land. I'd be like, oh, so you kind of have to like go and like workshop it in front of people, and then there's
Mhm.
like the process of them being like, oh, she sucked, but I could have just been working on new material. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
that was it's very hard for me, that process of
Yeah.
failing constantly in front of other people to get better. And
Yeah.
also with stand up is you're putting yourself out there. I'm not putting this character out there. It's, oh, here I am, Susan Song. Oh,
Yeah.
you don't like me? So if they don't laugh, then it's like they don't like me, and then it's like personal, and then I'm like like I remember I would like do open mics at Flappers at like 12 o'clock. I would do the lottery. I would be the
Oh my
last fucking person
God.
called. The only people
Yeah.
that are there are like dudes talking about like sperm jokes and like,
Yeah.
and I'm like, and then I'm like, ah, do you guys like Taboo? Not my audience. And like I would like
Yeah.
drive home like crying. I'm like, what am I doing with my life? And I was like, so it was really like
Yeah.
it's hard. And like also even just like, I mean, you're Paksanim. You, words are Paksanim is, that's what you call someone with a doctorate in Korean. You have to give the formality where it's due. Yes, Paksanim.
A
You
doctorette.
know,
Yeah, I like how you feminized it. Yeah.
oh,
Yeah.
is it? Oh, wait, then what is it? Paksa?
No, it's just doctorate. Yeah. Yeah, you're
Is
right.
Paksanim feminized?
No, no, no. I like how you said you called it doctorette,
Oh, did I
like
say that?
it's a woman. Yeah, yeah. It was
Oh,
funny.
sorry,
It's
I didn't
okay.
mean to. Okay. But it's just like me, like I had my friend who helped me write. my jokes, and like we would be like, "Ugh, is it this word or is it that word?" And it's like
Oh.
you analyze every. You think it's just, well, I don't know. For me, it wasn't just like
Hmm.
this. Go and just do everything was very thought out. Every word choice was thought out. Like this is a
Oh,
funnier
okay.
word. You got to
Yeah,
set it up like this to really
sure.
execute that joke. So it was a lot
Yeah.
of like constructing like word stuff. So, anyways,
Hmm.
that's a lot of work too. So I might commend
Yeah.
you. Yeah.
Thanks. I think stand-ups are just, just more selfish, you know? I mean, the other way to look
Hmm.
at it is like they're just more independent. But yeah, it's like we don't have to share the stage with anybody. We don't have to wait for anybody, it's just ourselves. But yeah, even though it is like ourselves that we're putting up on display, it's like still a mediated version of ourselves, you know?
Hmm.
And even in stand-up comedy, stand-up comics lie all the time. Yeah.
Hmm. Yeah.
Plenty of things like little details and little facts that we change all the time in
Right.
order to make it funny or in order to
Right.
make it
Right.
more uh, easy to communicate or more understandable or whatever, more relatable or whatever. So we make little adjustments here and there all the time. But yeah, I guess I never felt like it was like a personal
Hard.
thing. Maybe
Oh.
it is, but I don't know. Like this past few months, I've been just trying to be like, yeah, nothing's ever really personal. Like that's sort of
Hmm.
been my trajectory. But
Mm,
anyway, where did
interesting.
you go home? Like where's home for you?
Oh, I'm from the Bay Area, San Jose area.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah. So it's
For
just like a
some
quick
reason,
5 hour drive.
yeah.
So for some reason, what you thought I
For
was
some
in
reason,
LA.
I thought you were like in Michigan or something.
Oh,
Like,
really?
yeah. But no, it makes sense. San Jose, Bay Area. Um, yeah, did you study like theater when you were in college or what did you study when you were in school?
No, I actually I did business and communications because this I know the school that I went to I went to UC Davis.
Yeah.
I think their theater program was a little bit more like the history behind theater. It wasn't so much like I don't know. I don't know if UC Davis is really like known for their theater. I'm not sure. Um,
Hmm.
but I know what I wanted to do was comedy. So that's why
Mm-hmm.
like I just quickly did, please my parents and then like,
Mm-hmm.
okay, deuces, I'm out. I'm gonna live my life now.
Yeah.
So that's what I did.
Mm.
Um,
So you started up
yeah.
there or you started down here?
Oh, comedy?
Uh-huh.
I After I graduated, I moved down immediately,
Immediately.
and then I went to the Groundlings program.
Wow. How was it
Yeah.
there at the Groundlings?
Um, 어떻게 말하지 이거? It was
Just if you're not comfortable with it, we don't have
no,
to
no,
talk
no,
about
no.
it.
It's totally fine and it's great. Like it's been a while since I went through the whole program up until the last advanced level and then I wasn't asked to join Sunday company. Anyone who
Hmm.
goes and spends so much time at an institution like 5+ years, I think I was like five,
Yeah.
7 years,
Yeah.
it's such a like when you get broken up with it, it's such an emotional thing.
Yeah.
A lot of people since they've left like hate groundlings because of that, and I get it. It's a lot of political things too, but in terms of the education and the
Mm.
school, like I
Mm-hmm.
felt like I loved it. I love character work and doing different
Right.
character like that's like my jam, and that's what we
Yeah.
were doing there. And I would take classes there, like and I would like I those are that's the moments where I was like, "Ah, I feel so alive. This is what I'm meant to be doing. And like all my
Yeah.
commercial auditions and stuff like that. That's all the stuff that like I learned from like Groundlings and UCB too.
Yeah.
UCB's improv is a little bit more game focused, like the
Okay.
Herald.
Uh-huh.
So what the improv that they do at the Groundlings is a little bit more my jam.
Um,
And I also like learned so I my writing lab teacher was Jim Rash. I don't know if you know him, but he won an Oscar for The Descendants. He
hmm.
wrote The Way Way Back, and then he just
Mm-hmm.
sold that at Sundance for the highest a movie had ever gone for. And then
Mm-hmm.
he taught my class.
Mm.
And so that was like amazing. Like he
Mm-hmm.
was so generous with his time and like teaching us like, how to write characters. That was so great. So the education that I learned was invaluable and also the friendships. Some of my best friends to this day are like people that I went through the Groundlings program with. So I'm
Mm-hmm.
very thankful. You learn a lot. It's just you got to take what you can from it
Yeah.
and not get caught up in a lot of the political stuff.
Yeah. I mean, the political stuff, like every single person who's been at the Groundlings talks about, but yeah, I mean, it is like one of the best, places. Like one of the top institutions for improv. And
Mm-hmm.
I remember like you had this video. I really love your videos, by the way. They're always
Oh,
great.
thank you.
Um, I loved this video that you had of like the Asian American celebrities,
Oh, yeah, yeah,
like
yeah.
Constance Wu, and
Uh-huh.
like I think you had Aquafina there
Yeah,
too.
uh-huh.
Sandra Oh also
Yeah,
in it?
Sandra Ali Wong.
So good. Like
Oh, thank you.
hilarious. Hilarious. Yeah.
Thanks.
Um but yeah, like what do you kind of like want? Like what's the ideal thing, like the dream thing that you want out of all of this?
Good question. I mean, like, I just like to do, I love just to like make people laugh. I know that's vague,
Okay.
but I mean,
Yeah.
ideally, like, I would love to be, I don't know, it changes constantly. You know what I mean? Like, when I was at the
Hmm.
Groundlings, it was like, oh, SNL is the end game. And then when Groundlings pulled the rug out under me, it was like, oh, well, then what am I supposed to do? Like, and then I was like, and then I would love to be like a like on a sitcom, like a character actor on a
Uh-huh.
sitcom would be great,
Yeah.
right? And
Yeah.
so, but then now every time I do like multicam type of auditions, I feel like not true to myself. Like I realize my point of view and my voice as it is kind of a little bit maybe sometimes more like smaller and like dry. And then so
Huh.
I would love to do more like dramedy stuff. Like I love dramedy small type of stuff. So
Hmm.
I don't know. I think I'd love to do TV more than film because my face is big. I cannot imagine it on the. I cannot. So
Uh-huh.
small TV.
Yeah.
Yeah, just like character
Okay.
driven stuff. Yeah,
Hmm. Or
yeah.
just a regular on a show as a character.
Are those like small dreams? It's fine. That's who I am.
They're small and major, I think. You know, becoming a regular on a series is enormous, right? I mean, come on. Like it's
Just like to make a living as an actor is a great goal. I mean, like I would love to have that happen,
right.
and then to be able to do like dramedy or a very interesting character work on something that I actually enjoy would be great. And working with like
Hmm.
great directors and yeah, and actors.
So you said that you studied business and communications to appease your parents.
Yeah. I mean, I also am interested in it. I don't know if you know this. Do you know I work a full-time day job and I work in media strategy. So I still do that. And so I'm using
Hmm.
that. I work in like marketing advertising
Hmm.
field.
Hmm.
So, yeah, I still use that kind of stuff for my day job too.
Isn't it hard to do auditions and day
Yeah,
job?
it is. It is.
Well, how do you make it work?
I'm barely like surviving. It's like minute by minute. It's like, okay, what do I gotta do? What do I gotta do? What do I gotta do? My day job, I've been working in media for a long time.
Uh-huh.
So I work freelance now and I work with people that I've worked with for a long time and they know what I do. They know I'm an
Mm-hmm.
actor, so they let me
Mm-hmm.
have like flexibility to take
Mm-hmm.
auditions or do whatever
Mm-hmm.
I need.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it's really because they're so flexible with me that I'm able to juggle both. And like at the end of the
Yeah.
day, like I get my work done. Like I'm gonna work over this weekend because I wasn't able to do things
Mm.
this past weekend because I had so many auditions. So I'll do
Wow.
whatever it takes to get the job done. So they trust me and I do good work. So they let me do what I need to do.
Right. That's very nice of them.
Yeah, it's so nice.
Do you ever consider just quitting your job?
I have quit my job multiple times. So when I first quit my job, full-time job, I quit it to pursue acting full time, right? Because I was
Yeah.
like, I don't even know if I want to do acting. I've never given it a good chance to pursue it. So I
Uh-huh.
quit my job. I didn't have any agents. I didn't have anything. So I just sat on my sofa playing Candy Crush all day. And I'm like, what am I doing? What am I doing? I was like, okay, well, whoa. I'm an actor now, so what do I do? And I would just like, I'm like, what's happening? And so I'm like, okay, it doesn't just happen like that. You need agents, you need to be going on auditions or whatever, right? So then that's when I started freelancing, and I was like, okay, while I'm freelancing, I'll
Mm-hmm.
make sure I get representation, and I'll keep working on my improv and
Mm-hmm.
comedy stuff and whatever. And so yeah, like I don't want to work. I don't have to work, but it's really hard to say no when they pay really like decently and like they let me do whatever I want and I can juggle both and I like money because I like to
Yeah.
eat
Yeah.
and do whatever I want
Yeah.
and so I just do it. So they'll always like be like, okay, your contract ends. So like last year, my contract ended in September. I was
Yeah.
like, Deuce, great. The industry's closed. That's when I went to Korea. And
Uh,
then I was like, you know what? In 2021, I'm not going to work. I'm going to see how long I could just not work. And
yeah.
then in June, they're like, hey, we're so short staffed. We really need some
Interesting.
freelancers. And I was
Uh-huh.
like, I don't want to work. This is
Right.
after I did like Jimmy Kimmel. And I was like, I'm going to
Yeah.
have to, and I was,
Yeah.
nothing happened. And so then I was like, all right, fine. And then, like I gave myself a raise. I'm like, okay, if you can meet this, then I'll do it. And they're like, okay, that's fine. And I'm like, okay,
Wow.
I guess I'm doing it. And so I have to make it worth my while to
Mm.
create an environment where I'm constantly like, it's like literally, it's crazy. I am stressed out, but it's okay because if I don't work my day job though,
Yeah. Uh-huh.
it's like then all I am doing is dependent on acting, which is fine, that's normal, but it's like it's too much. It's like I put too much emphasis and I'm desperate for like I got to get this job because I need to like
Oh.
and so I bring this desperate energy and then also I
Yeah.
get anxious about money just because I have money trauma stuff from my past. So then
Yeah.
I'm dealing with so much anxiety and like every job is like, "Hi, Susan Song." But like when I'm working, I'm just like, all right, what the fuck do I gotta do? Okay, whatever. Okay, cool, bye. Like I'm like, I can't make this audition, and then they're like, well, we want her to come in. It's like it just gives a different energy, and I'm
Yeah.
not so like, oh, I need this so much, and so
Right.
it actually is helpful in the. I think I'm healthier at the end of the day with doing all of this stuff
Mm.
in short
For sure.
bursts.
For sure. Yeah. No, that's really interesting. Because, you know, I would think that like one would have that desperation regardless of the money, you know? Or
What?
like
Oh,
it's like, yeah, I mean, it's like wouldn't you want that part very badly anyway? I mean,
even if you had money.
yeah, like even if you had that job, because it's like that's what you want. Like you
Oh,
want
right,
to
right. Of
be an
course.
actor.
Of course.
Yeah. Yeah.
I want every job that I like and I want to go out for.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
But what I'm saying is when you go into the room or whatever, the audition
Yeah.
room,
Sure.
like let's say for commercials, right? Where it's like
Mhm.
not so like, I want this role. It's just like,
Mhm.
okay, cool.
Mhm.
You can just like, there's a difference between like I really really love this job versus a
Uh-huh.
desperation of like I need this job
Yeah.
to
Yeah.
pay my bills,
Yeah,
to
yeah.
just like have a livelihood to eat.
Yeah.
Um
Yeah.
and so then that shows a little bit, like a little bit
Uh
neediness or a desperate, you know what I mean?
yeah, yeah.
It's like, hi, whereas like I still all want them. You know what I mean? I want all the
Yeah.
jobs, but it just doesn't like I can like maybe keep my cool a little bit. You know what I mean? Because it's all about like fucking. I don't need this. Fuck y'all. It's like having that when you do that. That's when they're like, we want this person.
Yeah.
It's weird. It's so fuck. It's like dating or like you're like, ugh, this person's so available for me. I'm not interested. You know?
Have you ever done those like exercises or like read books on how to get that level of cool regardless?
Oh, um, regardless of my actual situation.
Yeah.
Um, no. Are there any you recommend?
I don't know, but
Do you
I
could
think they
find that?
exist. Yeah, I think there are like ways of getting there. Maybe that's something you could ask your acting coach, you know? I mean,
Yeah.
because it seems like an important thing, right?
Right.
I
I
mean,
mean,
I like
mhm,
the fact that you negotiated and got the pay raise that you wanted. I think that's
yeah.
badass. I think that's
Hmm.
baller. But it's like if the job is making you miserable and this and that, it's like, well, how do I how do I feel that sense of like security
Hmm.
and
Mm.
despite regardless of whether or not I have a job. and bring that into
Mm,
the room every single time. And I would feel like that would be the hack. Because
right.
right now it's like the dependency is on money. Not
Well,
even money, a job.
so to be fair, I'm not miserable. I do like my
Yeah.
day job, and I like
Mm,
seeing people, and like we have a great time. They're all my
yeah, yeah.
friends, and like my
Yeah,
boss is like
yeah.
a close friend of mine, so I love it.
Mm, okay.
I'm busy, so I
Yeah,
just
yeah,
have to
yeah.
figure out like my planner is like 8 a.m. wake up, do this,
Wow.
9:30.
Yeah,
Like
yeah,
it's on. I'm on a schedule.
yeah.
Um,
So you do feel fulfilled by your job.
yeah, and it sometimes it's like. Uh, Not that like we should tie our sense of that. I need to learn this, how to have a sense of self-worth outside of these things, like I should just feel enough just as who I am without thingies, but like
Uh-huh.
traditionally like cultural things, it's like status, like what is this, whatever, right?
Uh-huh.
And maybe I don't like, so it just gives me a little bit of like not confidence, but like I have something I could also like hang my hat on like, you know what, I'm a associate media director in media strategy, and I do multi-million dollar, I do the media strategy for multi-million dollar accounts and stuff like that. That's a side thing that I keep secret, actually, you know what I mean? But it does kind of
Mm-hmm.
like give me, the thing is, it's like it gives me a sense of like, I don't know, I guess it's just like, you're right, I don't actually need that job to have a sense of like cool or like confidence when I go into auditions, because I actually don't need it monetarily
Right.
anymore. You know what I mean? I
Right,
don't.
right.
But it's just like I know that for me it's good. I actually just I'm just trying to do it because I like side things, like I'm just trying to like, I need to I want to like buy my parents like a house or like whatever. So I'm just trying to like save up for all this extra. Like I need to take care of my
Interesting.
parents, right? So it's like,
Uh-huh.
so those are like things that I do, and like I'm okay with doing and working hard for my parents.
What do your parents do?
Oh, they're retired now, so
What did your parents do?
they used to own their own business, their own printing business. But then,
Oh.
and we were really well off, but then my dad lost everything
Mm-hmm.
in the stock market. So like, so now
Mm.
they're like old, and now they're like financially insecure,
Mm-hmm.
severely, or not,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, like severe from where they used to be. You know what
How
I
long
mean? And
ago did
so,
that happen?
um, like 10 years ago.
So
And
around the
so,
time of the recession or a little
yeah,
after?
actually, yeah. Um,
Mm.
so I don't know why there's like this. I feel like I need to like make them good in a weird
Hmm.
way. You know what I mean?
Are
I
you
guess
an
they're
only
beautiful,
child?
dutiful. No, I'm not. I have an older sister, but she's also like married and has kids. So and she helps too, but like I don't know. I don't know. I have this dutiful daughter, but it's something that I want to do too. You know what I mean? So,
Uh-huh.
anyways, so yeah, there's like a lot of, there's a lot of reasons why I live my life the way I do.
Mm.
But I'm okay with it. It's like, I just have to manage it, and that's fine. But that's why I don't have time to like hang out all the time or like chill,
Hmm.
or like I don't watch shit. I don't, if the moment I have a break, I work like 12 hours. I work from like 8 a.m. to like sometimes midnight, because I'll work the whole day and then I'll do auditions at night and like shoot them, and then I'll be done like at 10, 11. And then I just like sit on the couch in complete silence because I'm just exhausted.
Hmm.
But I like living like that in a weird way.
Hmm.
If I have too much free time, or if I'm just doing acting and not working the day job, it's like I have like ADD, and I don't know if it's like the more busier you are, the more productive you are. So if I don't have a lot going on, I do absolutely nothing, and then I just like sit and wallow.
Mm.
Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
So all I'm saying is like I like that.
Mm. You like being in the grind.
I like being busy, and I like, oh shit, I need to get this done in an hour. I won't do it unless it's due in an hour. Anything, an audition, like work, anything. I need that like hard deadlines and pressure.
Mm.
Stress. I need stress. Yeah.
I really liked it when you were in Korea and you were quarantined for it was like 2 weeks, right? It was
Mhm.
14
Mhm.
days.
Mhm. Mhm.
and you were in that fucking hotel room and making videos and taking pictures of the food that they were bringing you. It was actually really interesting. Like, the meals that they were bringing you, they seemed very consistent, like neatly packaged. Like that's the thing I love about Koreans and Korea is like
Hmm.
they really make sure that you get what you want or what they feel like is the epitome of being taken care of. Like they really go all out, like snacks and like everything.
You got your
Um,
protein, your veggies, you got your
yeah,
corn.
all of it.
Yeah.
But I mean, genuinely, like, what was that like for 14 days being in a hotel?
Um, Actually, when I look back at that time, that was like my favorite time because like I didn't have to answer to anybody. I didn't have it was just it was kind of quiet in my mind for myself. And I'm like a people pleaser, so it's like, okay, I gotta do this, I gotta do that. And I just can't do anything for anybody. You know what I mean? And so it was so nice. And then I used that time to post everything. And so because of that, I was so busy. Like I like to keep myself busy. I didn't even watch anything. I had no time. I was so busy. Like I had to record breakfast, and then I had to edit the breakfast from yesterday. And then after I posted that, I had to record lunch and then edit. It was just like constant. It was driving me crazy. And I was stressed out, but it was like fun and like it was I and in hindsight, because I was at a Buddhist temple and I was like, Koreans don't really. I was with my friend and she doesn't have furniture. Not nobody has furniture, but like we sit on the floor a lot and these
Yeah.
floors are hard. And I'm like, where's the comfy like recliners? Like I need my lounger and they just don't have that really. And so it was comfortable because I had a bed, I had a couch. Like I
Yeah.
was like, damn, that couch was real nice because
Yeah.
I'm tired of sitting and sleeping on the floor.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
yeah, the quarantine was enjoyable.
And even like it's basically you got like a 2-week free stay at a
Oh,
hotel.
hello. No, it was not free. It was not
What?
free. No
Wait,
way.
explain this. How did it work?
It's $100 a day. I spent $1,500, 1450 to quarantine in the hotel.
No.
Yeah.
Are you serious?
Yeah. And like that's the shitty food that they gave me.
I thought
It's
I
okay.
thought I thought it was all
No.
free.
No way.
Wow, it's a racket, man.
Yeah.
It's a fucking racket. Well, I mean, it wasn't a racket, it was serious, but good
Yeah.
God.
Yeah.
Sorry to hear that.
It's
But
okay.
you went to that famous temple that
Yes.
all the whites of the world want to be at.
They do?
Well, yeah, because they saw that fucking Netflix
I
thing with
know. They
that.
should like open up a tour company, huh?
Talk about her. Talk about this person a little bit,
Okay,
and
so
and what you did there.
okay, I went to Paekgangsa Temple, which I don't know if you've seen Chef's Table, season 3, episode 1. They feature this monk named Chun Guan, and I guess Eric Rupert, a French chef, found her when he was in Korea or whatever. Anyways, she's like this famous chef monk. And when I saw that episode, I was like, oh my God, I have to go there.
Mm.
Um, and I was like, I gotta go there. I gotta go there. And so when I went to Korea, I was like, I gotta go there. And I looked at the website, but they were closed. Like they weren't doing anything because it was during COVID time.
Oh yeah.
So I
Okay.
was like, oh, bummer. And then like out of like on a whim, I was like, you know what? I have Baekhyangsa has like a WhatsApp number on their website. I'm just gonna
Okay.
try messaging them, right?
Sure.
So I messaged them. I was like, hi, are you guys doing any of the food? She does like a food class type of. You could sign up for a food class experience where you do a temple stay and then you get to cook with her or eat her cooking, right?
Okay.
So I was like, do you guys have any of those experiences in the next, whatever? And then the person that I started messaging with is this girl named Daisy. I don't know if you remember her, but I showed her a lot at the temple. But she was like, "Oh, we're not doing it for foreigners right now." And I was like, "Well, I could sit in the Korean class. I'm actually Korean, and I'd love to just sit. I don't care if it's in English, right?
Yeah.
I can
Yeah.
kind of understand Korean." And then she was like, at that time, she was, I don't know, this, I'm sorry,
It's okay.
blabbering, but she was like. She was like, at that time they were trying to get certification to be a foreign, like a certification from the head a Buddhist organization in Korea to get like we are a foreign like stamp of approval that we're a foreign friendly temple stay program. So she's like,
Mm.
I'm working on that. So they're coming in 2 days. Do you think you could just come? You're like, your English is really good. And I was like, well, I'm American. And then so she was like, and then Daisy is like a very kind of like aggressive person. She's like, how would I say this? How would I say this? And we'd be like, oh,
Oh,
and me and my friend Vivian would be like, oh, you would just say like Sanggeru is like a pavilion that where it's built on top of where two rivers meet, blah, 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 blah. She's like, oh my God, that's amazing. She's like, can you just come to the temple? And I was just like,
wow.
what? And I was like, yeah, just fly straight. I was in Jeju Island. She's like, just fly straight from Jeju to Gwangju. I was supposed to go to Busan and stay in Busan for like a week doing nothing,
Mm.
a week or two. And so I really had no schedule anyways. And so she's like, can you come? And I was like, what? And I was like, okay. So I went to help her. And then that weekend I was able to do that food program with Chongguan.
Yeah.
And during the food program, I was like, she's like, oh, where are you guys from? Because me and my friend Vivian, and Vivian's like, oh, we do comedy in LA. And she's like, you guys like the horchugi wa tungtungi, which is like the fatty and the skinny.
Wow.
And we were like, well, I was like, um, and then she's like, well, when are you going back? And I was like, well, I'm gonna volunteer here for 2 weeks, and then I'm gonna go back. And so I was kind of aggressive and like, yeah, I'm gonna
Yeah.
I'm gonna just stay here with you.
Right.
And she's like, what? And I was like, yeah. And that's right when they were about to do kimjang, which is like when they make kimchi for the whole year. And so they actually needed some help anyways at that
Yeah.
time. So
Yeah.
then she was like, all right, okay, you can help us out. So she said she wanted me to work at Baekhyangsa Temple Stay program for a week and then come up to Cheongjinam, which is where she does all the cooking stuff for a week.
Hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
I was there total for 2 weeks and then with her a week.
Mm.
Um, so yeah, it was so crazy. Like she's not like a practicing monk. Like she just like cooks, and like she gets invited. Like Stanford had invited her out, Google had invited her out, like pre-pandemic to come and
Mm-hmm.
speak, and she's like cooking and like does the food programs, and she does it for like goes around Korea and doing that, and then there's a lot of like chefs, like young chefs that are learning from her, like 25-year-olds that are all there, and so
She's a hot
there's like
commodity now.
yeah, so there's like 8 of them, and so I just hung out with them. And all we did was like cook and eat.
What did you
It was
learn?
amazing.
Like, what's like an important or like unique thing that you learned while working with her, whether it's culinary or otherwise?
Hmm. I just one thing I saw she would have okay, like one thing I learned culinary wise, just because I love food, is
Yeah.
like we would always like she would come and we would have like one ingredient. Like let's say like she got all this like what is like is it sukar or no siregi?
Soup?
What's no
Shiregi.
siregi?
Shiregi.
It's
The dried
which is
lettuce, the
it's
dried
like a dried
cabbage.
ugoji, yeah, like a
Uh-huh.
dried cabbage type of thingy.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
And like and we would like just take that and then like make it in so many different ways and eat it almost like 3 days in a row where I'm like, oh my God, I'm sick of this. Like it's not even
Hmm.
about like everything was so simple and it was just about the ingredient. And when you really just focus on that one thing,
Mm-hmm.
it's like everything was like so amazing. It was like, oh my God, like this is just 콩나물밥, right? Like bean
Mm-hmm.
sprout rice, which is
Mm-hmm.
like basic like comfort home food, which is nothing special. You would never really go to a restaurant to eat 콩나물밥, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And that was like so good. Like she would just like cook the beans and then the soup of the flavor that would come out of the bean sprout, the kumur, the liquid, she would like pour
Mm-hmm.
it over the rice. And like I was like, oh
Mm-hmm.
my God, like so it was just so like kind of like taking away all this extra that we always get when we're eating like amazing like chef's food, and it's just like simplifying it, and it was just like it was so good it's just simple, keep it simple, stupid, right?
Hmm. Mm-hmm.
um and
Getting
just
to the
like
essence of that one thing.
yeah, and so then like yeah, like and the way she would prepare it like totally different ways, so I was just like, oh, that's so interesting.
Hmm.
So And so we would eat a lot of the same ingredient for three, but it was still like interesting. And I was like, okay, I'm ready to move on from this. But like, I don't
Yeah.
know.
Hmm.
It was good. Yeah, it was very just simple, and it's all vegan, all vegan and health. It's very healthy, but I never felt like I never, because I'm a meat eater. Give me the meat first, right? I want the
Mhm.
bosan, I want the carby, I want everything.
Mhm.
And I was like, oh my God, I have to eat like vegetables for like 2 weeks. But like it was so good. Like the
Mm.
way she, like if you watch Chef's Table, I don't know if you saw the episode, but she makes like the
Mhm.
shiitake mushrooms.
Mhm.
And like that's what her dad was like, this is,
Mhm.
after he tasted that, he's like, okay, you're fine. And yeah, those mushrooms are so good. And when
Mm.
you're eating like food in its like pure form, it's
Mhm.
so delicious that you don't need, there's no feeling of like, oh, I need my gogi or like meat or anything like that. It's very satisfying and delicious. So,
Hmm. Yeah.
and then I think like one other thing is like one thing, like honestly, all the Buddhist things that she was saying, the Buddhist, like, like I didn't really understand a lot of it because it was just hard. So I would be like, and I was like, I don't understand. I was like, but it's very like she's very just like let everything be, like in the wintertime everything falls off like when the fall leaves were falling off the trees. By the way, fall leaves there was amazing.
Mm.
Koreans love fall leaves.
Yeah.
It's like a thing we get off on. We're just like
Mhm.
fall leaves, let's go look at the fall leaves. um and when they were falling off, I was like, oh man, the fall leaves, they're falling. And she's like, no, 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 this is all part of the, and like everything has its cycle. So you just got to appreciate like the cycle because it always come back. And in this moment, we appreciate what's here now and stuff like that. And I was just like, oh, it's like Buddhist, like, circle type of thingy. So I was like, I don't really, what is this? I really wish I knew a little bit more, like better, like Buddhist Korean to like
Huh.
understand. Or even
But
like
yeah.
culinary words too. Anyways.
Yeah. No, but it sounds like you had this very unique experience and even like in terms of your own profession, you were able to bring some of that to basically barter, like they were
All
being
right.
kind of exclusive about this thing because of COVID, but
Mm-hmm.
also because of their own work
All right.
situation. But they needed somebody with your language skills and your marketing skills. Technically, that's
Mm-hmm.
what she was
Mm-hmm.
asking you for to
Mm-hmm.
come in and help them out. And so you were able to sort of barter those skills to have this very unique experience that probably most people would not have had access to, right?
Yeah. Yeah. It was very it was all very serendipitous. Is that the right word? I don't
Yeah.
like she's like, I never check WhatsApp. And
Yeah.
she's like, but that day I checked it. That's what
Yeah.
Daisy was saying. And like everything just worked out it was very like a once in a lifetime because Daisy now
Yeah.
is no longer there at the temple. I can't even get in
Right.
contact with her.
Right. Right. Right.
Um and with the monk, it's like
Mm-hmm.
she's actually very fun. Like what you see, like she's just like I was like she's like a star. She needs to be like a TV personality because she's just always having fun. She loves to
Yeah.
laugh.
Yeah.
She loves to like have fun, dance and sing.
Yeah. Yeah.
And like so like I think that she was like, "Oh yeah, let's let her stay because she's a comedian, right? It'll be
Uh-huh.
fun, like especially when
Uh-huh.
we're doing kimjang and stuff like
Yeah.
that."
Yeah. Yeah.
So it all just kind of like worked out like perfectly. So it was
Yeah.
great. And like luckily one of the chefs that was there, he had just come from LA. So
Uh-huh.
he spoke pretty good. He had studied at CIA, like the Culinary Institute in Napa.
Uh-huh.
And so he knew like pretty good English. And so he was able to help translate when I was with the
Mm.
monk. And so it was a great experience. I don't know if it will ever happen like that again. Like I want to go back, but a lot of the chefs are gone.
Mm-hmm.
I don't even know who's there. So
No, it was a moment that the universe gifted you, and they were telling you what this, Jung Kwon S님 was telling you as well, which is be present, right?
mm-hmm, mm-hmm,
Because
mm-hmm.
it will change. Everything will change.
Right, right, right.
So be present, right?
Yes,
And
yes,
that's what you were doing while you were at that temple stay. So
yes.
I think that's awesome. I think that's awesome. And, it really is a gift that was given to you. But I did take note when you said that your favorite time was when you were locked up for 2 weeks in that hotel. Basically, not doing nothing, you were doing a lot, but they were all for yourself,
Oh,
right? Not for
wow.
anybody else. And I think
Yeah.
that's something to keep in mind. I really like
Mm.
the plastic bag dress you also made for yourself
Oh
too,
my
the blue one.
God.
That was
Yeah.
hilarious. I was like, yeah, all right, yeah, 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 yeah.
I was
But
going crazy. That was the last day.
yeah. Yeah, I mean, yeah, yeah, it
Okay,
will.
to be
Hmm.
fair,
Hmm.
when I said the quarantine time was, it was because it was like physically relaxing on my body. Like
Hmm.
at when I was with the monk, it was a
Yeah,
lot of hard work. I worked from 8 a.m. till like 9 p.m. physically. I don't think I've
yeah,
ever worked physically that hard before because
yeah.
I always either work at a
And in the
computer,
dead of cold.
fucking cold. These
Yeah.
like those, those big rubber copper things, those are
Yeah,
so heavy.
they're
So, and we're
very
just like
heavy.
mixing tension.
Yeah,
We're just,
yeah,
it's everything we're making is huge.
yeah.
Yes, of course that was a great experience. But I'm just saying, like when you're quarantined, like everyone thinks, oh, a horrible experience. It was actually enjoyable for me too. And also,
Yeah,
I think for me, yes,
yeah,
it was my. I don't know why I'm defensive all of a sudden, but
yeah.
you're right. Like you said, it was my time,
It
and
was
like
your
I
time to
think
just to
decompress. But also,
unplug. Yeah.
I was creating content. And also, when I
Yeah.
went to Korea, I was depressed and I had a situation that I needed to kind of physically get out of LA to clear my
Uh-huh.
head.
Uh-huh.
And I was in a very sad state.
Uh-huh.
And it was a period of time where like I kind of doubted myself as a comedian and like just anything and like make just an act everything and doing that and putting I don't usually put myself out there. I don't post on Instagram. I don't really do that as Susan Song, like I
Mm-hmm.
said, it's very hard for me to put myself out there. And I was doing that, and then I was like everyone was like so invested in the thing, and like there was so much like positive feedback
Yeah.
that it was like so like healing. And also like I was just like, ugh, it was just a reminder like this is what I'm supposed to do. Like how did I let
Yeah.
myself get so wrapped up into these negative thoughts about
Yeah.
myself? And
Yeah.
so in that aspect, like it was a really great gift that I had gone in quarantine, to be honest.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. I think
yeah.
so too. Yeah. Those kinds of moments come to us at a very opportune moment. That's
Mhm.
usually when we're in a rut. Yeah.
Mhm.
So it's good that you got that, reassurance.
Mhm.
Um, okay, great. Thanks for sharing that. I'm gonna
Yeah.
ask you a few flashcard questions based on a show called This Is My
Oh.
First Life. So you just answer them based on like, what would you do if you were this character? Okay?
Okay.
Okay. So
This is
let's say
my first
you're
life. What's the Korean name of this drama?
oh, I can't remember.
Okay, that's okay.
인생에서 처음이라서 or 처음이라서 or something like that.
Okay.
Anyway, let's say you're a woman named Yoon Ji-ho. You're a 30-year-old Korean TV drama writer's assistant.
Oh.
And you come home and you
Uh-huh.
see that your younger brother's girlfriend got pregnant, so they got married, and now
Oh
they're
shit.
kicking you out of the house that you paid for with your money.
Oh hell no. Uh-huh.
What do you do?
Oh, I say, oh hell no.
Okay, that's it? You just say, oh, hell
Um,
no? Okay.
I say that, but then I'd be like, okay, that's fine, that's fine. Nor real me, I would be like, okay, yeah, that's fine. I could just go live with I'll go live with mom and dad.
Okay.
But do you think you could help out with the mortgage payments or something? No? Okay, that's fine. We'll just like have the baby and
Okay.
it's just for the baby's health. Yeah. That's like how
Hmm.
I think I would really.
Okay.
But in my mind, I'd be like, no, get the hell out of here. No, we're both gonna live in here, okay?
Yeah, in your mind, the
In my
place where
mind, I'm a
nobody else can hear.
badass.
Yeah,
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 yeah.
yeah. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Where you communicate your true thoughts, but not to
Right,
them
right.
through your
Yeah.
mouth. Okay. Okay. Let's say you're a man named Hihi who works
Mhm.
as a computer designer, and you're standing at a bus station, and there's this
Mhm.
chick who seems very distressed. So
Mhm.
you offer her some encouraging words, and out of nowhere, she kisses you right in the mouth.
Oh
What do you
my.
do?
Oh, we go to a bar. We continue the good night. It's about to go down. I'm a computer designer. It's been a long time since I've had a date. Just kidding. No offense, computer designers. But
Okay.
let's go. Let's do this.
Okay. Wow.
Why not?
Okay. A total stranger. You're down. Okay.
Oh, how,
Down
I
to
mean,
fuck.
it's like, I mean, we could just get drinks and like get to know each other, but also it's like, come on.
Okay.
We're
All right.
doing this. We're doing this.
Yeah, she kissed
I
you,
mean, if
so
I'm a
why not?
guy, if I'm a guy and a girl is doing that, then yeah, it's like it's go time.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Is that
All right.
anyways, go on.
No, that's fine. Okay, so let's say you're Chiho again. You're the girl.
Girl.
You wrote your own TV script, right? Your
Uh-huh.
very own show, and you
Oh
bring it
wow.
into a director's meeting to pitch it. But your boss, who's very established writer, steps in and
Uh-huh.
changes everything and overshadows you and your work. What do you do?
Uh-huh. I quit. I quit. I quit.
That's it?
I go I go, "Hey, what do you mean? What do I do in the meeting?" In the meeting I'm like, "Oh, um but oh, thank you so much." And then after I leave I go, "That's weird. That was my idea." Um Okay, that's fine. I'll just write another one. I'll just write another one. So that's fine. That's fine.
Oh,
That's
wow.
probably what I would do.
Oh,
I have
good
no
God.
backbone, huh? Shit.
Yeah.
In my mind, I'm like, excuse me, can we talk? Excuse me, director. Actually, that was my idea. Um, I don't know. They take my idea.
Yeah,
I don't know. It's like, are we in Korea? It's like different. You know what I
we
mean?
are. We are in
In Korea,
Korea.
you just go, yeah, that was a great idea, boss, that you had. That was actually my idea, but hey,
It's
good job with that.
okay.
Good job with that.
God damn.
I know, I'm so sad. This is who I am.
All right, all right. You're the same writer chick, okay?
Hmm.
You're now that you're basically homeless because you got kicked out of the
Right.
apartment you were staying at. Um, you're sleeping in an office space, but the assistant director of the show that you're working on, who
Uh-huh.
was hitting on you and
Oh
sending you all
yeah.
these mixed messages, despite the fact that he has a girlfriend,
Oh shit. No, no,
he
no.
comes into your space and sexually
Yeah.
assaults you. What do you do?
Oh hell no. Oh hell no. This is when it's like, excuse me. Excuse me. It's fine. It's fine. Excuse me. I'm just kidding. That's when I go tell. I go tell. That's when I just go tell my boss that I quit and I'm just done. I'm just kidding.
Wow.
No,
Okay.
I know, I'm kidding, I'm
Okay.
kidding. No,
Yeah.
I
All right.
would. That's not okay. That's not okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would get him fired.
Oh,
I would get, or I would tell on him.
two.
My boss, his boss.
Mm, to the supervisors.
Yeah, but like in Korea, like, are they gonna do anything? I don't know. Are they gonna?
You have a lot of preconceived notions about Korea.
I know I have no idea, but it's because I listen to on Clubhouse. I listen to like on Clubhouse these Koreans that are working there, like
Mm.
Kyopos that are working in Korea. They're like they do nothing about anything.
It's sad and funny because it's true. Okay, right on. Okay. Uh, so you're homeless, but then you found an apartment. You're living with this guy named Hehi. You didn't know it was a guy. You thought it was a woman because his name's Hehi, right? And you move in because there's no deposit.
Uh
The
huh. Uh huh.
rent is very nominal. You could afford it. And all these banks and all these other places turned you
Right.
down. You
Yeah.
just like this is your only option.
Right. Right.
And but you're living with a man, and
Uh huh.
it's like you have like conservative parents, and he has conservative parents. It's like this whole issue. But you like where you live. It's very comfortable. You actually appreciate your roommate because he has boundaries. He
Uh
respects
huh.
you, respects your privacy. Da 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 da.
Yeah.
And one evening, you guys are watching soccer, drinking beers, and he
Mhm.
turns to you and he says, "Would you marry me for just 2 years?" What do you say?
I'll say why.
And then just
And
keep
what's
the
in it for
conversation going.
me? Why and what's in
Mm.
it for me?
Well, what's in it for you is that you get to live in this great apartment without
Why does
having
he
to.
only?
put in
Why
a
does he
huge
only want?
deposit.
It's like, okay, but if he's like, hey, I just need to like pretend, for this legal thing, taxes reasons, but I'll give you like 50K. It's like,
Mm,
if I'm 30, I'd be like, okay.
mm. Yeah. Yeah, it's like a business transaction. It's not
Right,
like out of
right,
love
right,
or anything.
right, right.
So you'd be down.
I would consider depending on the, you know,
The benefits.
yeah, yeah.
Mm. Okay. All right.
If I was older, I think I would say no.
Older than 30,
Yeah,
like 31, he would say no.
yeah, yeah. No, like
Everything
over maybe
changes.
35. Yeah, yeah,
Why?
yeah.
That's weird.
Oh,
Why?
because
What?
then it's like, then I probably need to try to get married and have kids or whatever. You know what I mean?
Ah, I see. Got it.
Yeah. But at
Okay.
30, I could just be like, can you hold on 1 second? I just gotta finish this marriage really quick and then I'll get back to you. I could
Okay.
have kids at 33, 34,
Yeah.
you know? Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Okay, shit. All right. Okay, fine. Final question. Of course, even though you guys have this contractual marriage, of course you start to like your roommate, okay?
Mm-hmm.
You like him. You like this guy, but he gives off a very like dead sort of apathetic, emotionless reaction and vibe to you, even though you sort of like do nice things and
Mm-hmm.
da da da. Like he's very like, kind of like deadpan with you,
Yeah.
but you like this guy. What do you do?
I go, what the hell? Do you like me? What the fuck's going on? You need to give
Really?
me something. I'm married to you for 2 years. You gotta act like we're married then. You know what I mean?
Mm,
So if I'm
hmm.
doing this for you, you better like laugh at all my jokes.
Oh wow.
Because why? I need to know why he wants me to marry him for 2 years still. So whatever the reason is, it was a good enough reason for me to be like, fine, I'll do this. But then you got to do this. Does he not
Oh.
like me? Does he not like me?
Well, it's hard to tell. He just has very like kind
Uh,
of cold sort of, not cold, just
oh, I
very like
see.
deadpan, like very like not very emotional.
Right, right, right.
Yeah.
I probably, when people are like that, I drive them to become emotional. I will get it out of them.
Okay. Just nag them until they
Badgering.
fall
Yeah,
apart.
exactly.
Okay. Thank you, Susan.
Oh, those are the questions. Did I answer correctly?
Correctly,
Yeah.
there's no right or wrong with these
I
kinds of
know.
answers.
I always like to be right.